What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/PettyRevenge. Alright, this story's called Roommate Gets a Rude Awakening. This happened earlier last year, but I was really inspired to share it after hearing all of your petty-ass responses. So, last year, after a really horrible breakup, I had to move in with a friend who was moving into a 5-bedroom house with some of her friends from university. I saw this opportunity as the literal light at the end of the tunnel for me, and even though I was aware that challenges would arise along the way, I didn't expect it to turn into an absolute nightmare. This was a 2-leveled house, and I, female 27, was living on the first floor with another girl that was about my age. Upstairs lived the 3 boys, 22, 25, 28. I essentially stopped using the kitchen or going upstairs at all because I couldn't stand the conditions of the place. There were always people trashing the place and no one would do anything to clean up. Saying it was messy was an understatement. There was a terrible cockroach infestation because of trash and because the sink was always full with their dishes and leftover food. I made an effort to organize the house many times, and eventually they just hated me for asking them to do their dishes or move their laundry after months of it being piled up over the dryer. So after a few months, I gave up, and the household was just totally divided. Upstairs was enemy territory and vice versa. I always kept to myself and stayed in my room, minding my business. Never invited anyone over because the situation was pitiful and embarrassing. It was such a nice house, and it straight up looked like a crack house. Anyway, I hate them. One night, like most other nights, they were upstairs playing video games and listening to music. Blasting music and stomping around and throwing crap past 10 p.m. on a Monday. Now, as if this wasn't annoying, my room was directly under the living room and balcony where I could hear every sentence, even if they were speaking at a normal level. But considering I could hear them doing lines upstairs, yelling was the normal volume. However, this frickin' night, they did that until 6 a.m. I asked them to turn the music volume down and they blew me off. I had school and then work the next day, so I was beyond livid. So having no sleep and finally assuming they were sleeping since the house was dead quiet. At this point, I quietly went upstairs. They were passed out on the couch and the kitchen is right next to it. I almost simultaneously started blasting music from my speaker while aggressively throwing the dishes around. And I'm saying aggressively because I was literally throwing pots and stuff around, being as loud as humanly possible. I was so happy disrupting their sleep, I still smile when I think about them having to endure that. I kept at it for about an hour and headed downstairs with my breakfast, having left a clean kitchen. I had heard some of their friends teasing them about being dirty. It was one of the most passive-aggressive and petty-ass things I've ever done in my life, and probably better than going to jail for murder. Ha 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 ha, my butt fell off. But if for some reason I end up as a ghost on Earth, I'm going to haunt them as if I was doing the dishes aggressively every night. Edit. Thank you all for taking the time to read and comment on the post. I wanted to clarify a few things I left out in the original post. 1. Yes, they were definitely awake and not able to sleep through the noise. I would see them on the couch every time I turned around and they were on their phone looking miserable. 2. Some people are commenting that cleaning the kitchen was a waste of my time. While to some degree I may agree, my roommate's friends had been teasing and calling out my roommates for living in a pig den. Remember, I can hear all their conversations from my room. So I figured by cleaning it, it'd be a statement that reinforced that they were, in fact, pigs living in a pig den. 3. Last thing. Some people simply weren't satisfied with the fact that I didn't actually go ape poop on them or call the cops. We went to the same school and had common friends. I simply didn't feel comfortable escalating the situation having to live with them, plus seeing them at school. Oh, that sounds terrible. Thank God my roommate, I'm actually moving in a couple days. Crazy. My roommate is a neat freak, and, so I'm pretty happy about that. So, yeah, as long as, cause I'm pretty good at maintaining a certain level of clean in my place, or in my area where I currently live with my parents, but he is also a nice, clean guy, so it's pretty neat. I just really hope I never am in a situation like this person was. OP, good job. Alright, this story's called Park in 2 Spaces? Enjoy waiting to get back in your car. I went out to eat at a local fast food place before going to work. When I arrived, the parking lot was full except for one space, but some inconsiderate buffoon had parked across the line. I wasn't about to make myself late waiting for another space to open up. Thankfully, there was enough room for me to pull into this last space, which was next to the driver's door of the other car. My driver's door was next to the curb, so I had no trouble getting out. While I was inside waiting for my food I'd already ordered, a woman came inside upset that someone had parked blocking her in. The manager went outside with her to look. While they were out there, my order was called, so I took my food and sat down to eat. My table was right next to the door. They came back in. I heard the manager tell her there is nothing he could do because the other car is clearly parked in a single space. She proceeded to go table to table asking whose car that was because she needed to leave. For some odd reason, she never stopped at my table. After asking at a few tables, she gave up and went outside and sat in front of the car. While I finished my meal, I walked out, got in my car. As I was walking to my car, I heard her on the phone talking, presumably to her boss, and telling him that she was going to be late. I just drove away without even acknowledging her. Edit. A common question in the comments was, why didn't she just get in the passenger side and slide over? 3 reasons. 1. Very large woman. 2. Compact car. 3. As I walked past her car, I saw that it was rather full of clutter, so no room to even get in the passenger side, let alone move across. Edit number 2. I just saw a comment that she probably did this because the car on the other side of her had also parked across the line. No, she drove the wrong way into the parking lot. The space she took was the second one from the exit. She saw it was open and came in from the wrong direction. Because of the angle, she couldn't get it in there without backing out and out 4 or 5 times, so she just left it. The parking lot is set up to be one way with angled parking. Ha! Serves her right for freaking doing that. I hate butthole parkers. Yeah, the only parkers I like are good parkers and Peter Parkers. Alright, this story's called, You Want to Use Our Netflix? No worries. I absolutely despise my in-laws. They're money-grubbing monsters. Long story short, they nearly made my wife, children, and I homeless a few years ago because of their own greed and see no issues with it. Anyway, I come home after work and wife has had a rubbish day. So I order a takeaway and we settle for a night of binge-watching TV. Then I see it. My in-laws have profiles on our Netflix. I don't even mention it, but I'm fuming. Those thieving little craps can't cough up a few pounds a month for Netflix. I talk to my friend about it, he laughs, I rage more. So I set their profiles and kids' profiles, and they can't watch anything with a higher rating than you. I also set a password on our profiles so they can't go into the settings to change it. I'm loving it. Swaggering around, thinking I'm a champ, showing off my pettiness to the guys at work, telling everyone and anyone who'd listen. They've asked my wife about it, she changes it back, and I give it the whole, my goodness, how on earth has that happened? Must be a system error or something. I change it back again. What a hero I am. I tell everyone a second time how I've effectively ruined their lives now that their viewing options are Paw Patrol and Naughty. Turns out they've been sending my wife the money for Netflix for some time now. I've changed the viewing settings back to standard. Edit. Didn't expect this much attention, haha, but thanks for all the awards. To everyone asking why they nearly made us homeless, we were supposed to be moving into their second home while paying full rent, etc., as it had been on the market for a while, but it wasn't shifting. Less than 10 days before moving, they decided to sell. They weren't exactly strapped for cash, as they were bragging they were in the process of selling a bit of land for £1 million to a developer. Luckily, our landlord at the time was a decent guy and let us carry on where we were living. The universe obviously saw how pissed off I was because the sale of both the second home and the land fell through. When they asked when we were expecting to move into their second home and start paying them rent, they got a big step off from me. On the point that my wife should communicate better, such a petty comment. I love it. Well, I guess that whole rent thing, the whole house thing was really shoddy of them to do, but I don't really see a big deal about sharing a Netflix profile. I share my Netflix profile with everyone I've ever met. Some dude on the street, I'm like, hey, you want my Netflix info? And they're always appreciative. I've lost my account a few times, but hey, what are you gonna do about it? Not share my Netflix account? Ha! I guess that might be a good idea. Alright, this story's called Steal My Desk? Be Annoyed for 30 Seconds Every Day. In my last year of my industrial design degree, I scored a paid contract at the Australian government scientific organization. Although I was only in 2 to 3 days per week, I was shown into a large, empty office and told I could base myself there. The office was normally used for students, but as I was the only one on this project, I had the whole office to myself with about 6 desks. Naturally, the first task is to find the best desk and put it into the best position. Since I was going to be there for a while, I stuck some posters of my project on the wall behind my desk and even brought in some retro decor from home to add a little personality to my part of the boring brick cavern. All went well for a couple of weeks until a few other students moved into the room. Although our paths rarely crossed as they were working on other projects, 2 of them were perfectly reasonable and set themselves up on other desks. The third, who I will call Jerkwad, because that is probably his name, decided he liked my desk. I should point out that all of the desks were the same, and mine had no better a view than anyone else's. Mine had a stationery on it, my posters on the wall around it, a clock, a telephone, all were mine. In fact, the telephone wasn't even plugged in. I just brought it in because it was an Orico phone and they looked cool. So one day I come in and Jerkwad is sitting at my desk while the other students were at their desks. My stuff was packed up and pushed to one side to make room for his stuff. Oh my god, I'm already heated. I made some comment about it being my desk and his response was, "Yeah, I won't be here for long," or some other blow off. To pursue it further would have made me look really petty in front of the others since all the other desks were the same. I set myself up at another desk that day. Although over the next few days I could tell my stuff had been moved around, and unless I got to the building by a certain time, he would steal my desk again. Unfortunately for Jerkwad, one of the things I brought from home was a talking wizard talking calculator clock. It was a cheap gimmicky thing like you would see at the markets. Basically a black plastic box with a button. When you press the button, it would say, "It is 9:05 a.m. When you open the box, there was a calculator, and when you press each button, it would say the number and read out the answer. Unfortunately for Jerkwad, the clock also had an alarm. When you set it, it would say, "Beep, beep, beep, it is 9:05 a.m. Beep, 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 it is 9:05 a.m. and would keep repeating this for 30 seconds very loudly. I set the alarm to go off mid-morning, put it in my desk drawer, and locked it. For extra pettiness, I also changed it to the wrong time. They were sturdy desks, 1940s era, made from silky oak with inlaid green vinyl tops. It is not possible to dismantle them or open them with a different key. I then took the key home and didn't come back for another 3 working days. When I returned, I sat at my desk, opened the drawer, and turned the clock off before it could go off. When Jerkwad came in, he saw me and said, "Could you turn that bloody clock off? There's something locked in the desk and it scares the crap out of me every day and won't shut up. I was about to smash the frickin' desk apart with an axe." I said something snarky like, "Sorry, it does sometimes go off when other people sit at my desk." He never stole my desk again. Thank the Lord. I was actually that's so gross and annoying what that freaking jerkwad would do. I hate it. I'm glad OP got his desk back. Oof. Alright, this story's called Take My Phone, Get Woken Up by Blasting Music. This is a bit more passive and low-key than some of the stories on here, but I'm still at it. Sometime last night, my phone was at around 15%, so I was plugging it in. That unfortunately happened to be the moment my dad walked into my room, so I was startled and dropped it. My dad probably thought that I was using my phone instead of doing my homework, so he took it without letting me explain myself, I might add. I was understandably annoyed. I had done nothing to deserve getting my phone taken away. Now, normally when I get my phone taken away from me for the night, I oh so graciously turn off my alarms, as they start at 5:30 in the morning and go off every 15 minutes. And they're loud. My parents have said they can softly hear it from downstairs, and my room is scarily soundproof. And on top of that, my parents hate K-pop. And guess which one of my Spotify playlists my alarms are connected to? But yesterday, I didn't deserve getting my phone taken away, so I didn't say a word about my alarms. And according to my mom, my dad is now in a bad mood, and I'm worried what's gonna happen to me now, but it was totally worth it. Ha! And the best part? Normally my parents are on a pretty united front about my phone, no matter the reason it was taken. But last night, when my mom checked in before going to bed, I asked her if she had turned off the alarms on my phone, and she hadn't. But when I joked about leaving them on, she thought it was funny, and we plotted together my dad's reaction and who would wake me up in the morning, because my phone certainly wouldn't. That was very pleasing, and I only have one annoyed parent instead of two. Get an actual reason before taking my phone, Dad, and give it back. Hey! I'd like to kindly ask everyone to not bash my dad or make assumptions about him based on this one post. Let's just share a laugh, yeah? Yeah, I agree. Don't. I was thinking, man, that dad's kind of mean, but we don't know anything about him. And the OP here obviously doesn't harbor any ill will toward him, so we shouldn't either. So I would hate to have my phone taken away, though, mostly because I bought it. Great thing about being an adult or whatever and making your own money is that, like, I own my computer, my PlayStation, my TV, my phone, everything I have. I mean, like, all the cool stuff I have now, I bought myself. So, like, he can't do anything, and it's great. And it's like, what are you gonna do? Kick me out? I'm already moving out. It's so cool. Like, I feel like I have, like, unlimited power. Like, I'm gonna freaking throw cheese all over the house just because I can. What are they gonna do? Ground me? I'm joking. Don't be a jerk.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.